Hey, welcome everybody to Wednesday night at the crib. We're going to talk about Butcher's Bay and probably touch on the FM changes. They're going to happen soon. And we'll see where it takes us. Some people are going to show up late, you know, work release and all that kind of stuff and daylight savings time. I'm not sure how this works out, but with me today is Grimace.
What's up, everybody?
Grimace is going to be running the slides for us. And I guess let's get started. You want to click on that? Right, Butcher's Bay starts tomorrow. And we have new Tier 8 targets. They were nice about it this time and have not put as much of a completion bonus for doing both sides of both the Hydra target and the Buccaneers target, which is nice because I think last time it was the preponderance of the points were actually in the completion bonus for doing both sides. So now it's 5 million and 5 million and 2 million for the completion. So that's a move forward. Hopefully that doesn't mean the targets got much harder. But we don't know anything about that at this point. Yeah,
that was my first thought about that. Seeing that the points went up on each target, and then thinking they're probably going to be harder. And before they had a higher completion value because they knew fewer people had both fleets completed. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you did, you got that leg up, but now they know more people have it, so then it seems like they're going to make the targets tougher.
Yeah, I mean, the other way I look at it is this is some way to not really ask for forgiveness, but show some leeway associated with what they're doing with the FM. Since now we're being encouraged to, I guess we're supposed to the whole last month been building dragons and not splitting time with the dragons and our secondary siege raid hall fleet. And that's the other way that I sort of look at it, is the fact that potentially we've gotten screwed on the transition of the FM. It would have been nice if they communicated this earlier as opposed to on Friday's live rampage, if they had told us that at the beginning of the month that you need to build your the Inferno Dragon and not build your secondary hall because it's not going to be quite as important as we thought previously.
Right.
So then it's just an idea. I'm not sure. Your idea, both ideas could be right. We'll see if these targets are much more difficult on tomorrow, less than 24 hours, depending on your world. Last month's targets are available on the world map at 1.5 million each, which is a significant decrease relative to doing a single of the other targets. And the first targets have just gone away.
Yeah, the original ones.
So,
oops, did not mean to switch that.
No, it's okay. But go ahead. I think we're done with it. Map targets. Hopefully, I don't think there's any major change here. And hopefully they haven't made any changes to the targets. I know that a lot of people suspected, including myself, that there were some changes made during the last raid to the 8 targets. I don't know if we're going to be seeing that at this point, where people were taking 2 or 3 times the damage, and then they were also very inconsistent, and there were some autoing issues. And
I did notice some of the inconsistency, but I didn't have a lot of the problems that a lot of people had. I did notice, though, too, as the raid went on, I made less points per hour than I did in the beginning. So I was able to do the targets much faster when it first started, and that started slowing down over time. So I don't know if, they increased armor or something, but I seem to make less points as time went on.
Were you getting tired of it?
Yeah, but I was autoing, so I
But
mean, I
even
was
that,
just
like maybe at the beginning, you were a little bit more Johnny on the spot when things when it exited target, and you just got bored with it and realized, I got my points now, or did you
I
start
mean,
helping people?
um well, I was helping people even later. But in the
Okay,
beginning, I was just doing all my own targets. So yeah, I mean, that's probably part of it, but I mean, it was a significant decrease. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I got my tinfoil hat on, but it seemed like they went slower and slower as time went on. But
yeah,
I
we
didn't
did.
feel like I was taking more damage. I did have some inconsistency where occasionally I would take just a ton of damage for some reason. And I wasn't even going in with my fleets. I was literally just click on the target on the map and go.
Yeah, well, the reason that I noticed it was I think it was on, yeah, it was on Friday during last raid. Magic Mike sent me a spreadsheet with the amount of damage he had on the 81, the 83, and the 85, and he had replicates of 10. So he had 10 of each that he just went through and did them straight through on auto. And there was a fair amount of variance, but it wasn't that huge. So I took the average of that. I'm like, well, can you put on a steelhead crew, the 1-star steelhead crew that gives you 15% resistance, and run through the 81s. Just do the 81s with them, and we'll see what the difference is. And he was taking 85% more damage. And I don't think it was the steelhead crew causing that. I think they tweaked the damage during
Wow.
that period of time. So that's my piece of my piece of evidence to think that they were tweaking the targets in some way. And I was
Yeah.
seeing the same thing when I was autoing.
I mean, I
So
definitely think they were tweaking them for sure, but I didn't see the massive swings that people were saying that they were having. I didn't see that 85%.
okay.
Um,
Well, he was
and I
getting out
mean,
with instant repair before, most of them before, and then it no longer was instant repair. So it basically, if you run into that again, it behooves you to use your boon and basically just repair your boon and let the rest of your Buccaneers sit at 75% and let it repair that, because the repair efficiency is about 10 times as good.
yeah,
And
that's
just
what I was
run
doing.
and just run it that way, because originally on the Thursday at the beginning, you could run through your whole fleet and have instant repair on the map
Right.
on a lot of the A targets.
And I
Um,
honestly, I didn't even bother instant repairing. I just kept going,
yeah,
and then I would take a break of like an hour. It was less than an hour and a half to repair the boon each time. So I would take a break and go do something else for a little bit and then come back and go at it again till till the boon was pretty much dead.
okay. All right. Well, let's go on to the next slide. See what we have. All
Aha.
righty. Prototype Staker. This is we'll show in a little bit, after we've gone through the haul, the special, and the weapon, what we've actually received. This is on the right hand side, and if you claim all three, they'll give you a built hull. I'm assuming it's not sculled, so you still will need to skull it for VXP weekend. And it's an interesting haul in many ways. One, considering we were told that they were simplifying the stat blocks, and they seem to have fallen off the wagon regarding that one. But it's an odd haul. Why they released it, I'm assuming because people were unhappy gathering uranium with the ones that came with the skirmish hulls that we used in the raid. I don't know why they didn't just fix the targets.
Yeah, that would have been my question.
Why did we didn't get a defender in this period of time? I don't know, because I thought a defender would have been the way we were going to go, but as we'll see later, we have. I guess we don't even really need a defender with what's going on here, at least in the short term. This is an interesting. Well, the first thing I'll point out that's interesting is the fact that this has a concussive range debuff of -5%. And it's meant to run with the hunters and the apex hunters and whatnot. It's been somewhat synced. I've run some numbers, and I'm not sure it's completely synced as far as combat speed, but we'll see once we actually see them on the water. But it's got a negative concussive range of -5%. All the depth charges have a range of 93, or all the modern day depth charges have a range of 93. So this is going to, if you run this with hunters and your apex hunters, this is going to be your quote unquote tank. This is the one that's going to lead the charge and take all of the accuracy based damage and the brunt of the splash damage.
So like from the fangs, all the torpedoes and stuff, it's going to be coming to this guy.
Yeah, because it's going to draw in closer because it has has 5% less range. So it has 95% range of the other ones. So you're going to be, you're going to be chopping off 3 or 4 range, which is just enough to make sure that it's the one that gets hit.
Right.
And everything else works as far as, if you take a look at the special abilities and the bloodthirst, it impacts all the apex hunters and whatnot and the hunters. But the issue is that the apex hunter doesn't have the healing ability on the prototype seeker that it has on the hunters. So you've created a tank that doesn't have the healing ability,
right,
or can't be healed by it, which is a little odd. I mean, if we're just hitting skirmish targets, unless you're one of those is like, oh, I'm going to go hit 10, 15 skirmish targets, and then I'm going to let them repair overnight, then that might be an issue for you. But it's not like it would be like during the raid. So I guess it's not a huge issue.
Well, and you're not hopefully taking as much damage on your hunters. So maybe it's not as big of a deal, because if you were taking more damage on your hunters that you had, or whatever, your flagship hunter, what's the stupid thing called?
The apex hunter?
The apex, yeah. It wouldn't be healing those as often. So maybe that's kind of the trade-off.
Well, actually, somebody said click one more time. Yeah, somebody said in the chat, it has more armor, and somebody in chat said that the hunter also has -5 range, and that doesn't appear to be true. I think it's the Tideseeker. There's something else that has the -5% concussive range. It's not the hunter.
I think it is the Tideseeker. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the hunter. So I was correct with what I said.
And so this is only made to run with hunters, not with Tideseekers at all.
Tideseekers are tier 4.5.
I get that, but it's just weird that they would call it a proto Tideseeker and it couldn't also be used with your Tideseekers, because it almost seems like a flag, a flag or something, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Why would
there's
like
a aura,
proto hunter?
Yeah, it could be used that way, maybe. I haven't looked at the speeds and how the speeds match up, but if you take a look at the bloodthirst, the prototype seeker bloodthirst, only the prototype Tideseeker can create the bloodthirst. But the way this reads is that fact that it's creating a field for the other ships.
Right.
And
So it
ignore
seems
this
like it.
duplicate aura cap of 5. This duplicate aura cap of 5 on Bloodthirst is just ignore it because otherwise it'll drive you crazy. You're not going to get plus 500% combat speed. I don't know why they keep this in the game, but they've and you're not going to get you're not going to get 1250 concussive damage. It's not happening. They just need to drop this duplicate aura cap. It's relates to Bloodthirst. It's supposed to refer to the accumulation of Bloodthirst, not the dispersion of the benefits associated with Bloodthirst. Hey George, how are you doing?
What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late.
What's up, George? That's definitely confusing.
Yeah. They need to fix. They just need to cross that out.
And I mean, again, I'm still confused because when I first saw Proto Tideseeker, I figured it was something that could also be used with Tideseekers, not just hunters. Maybe as a supplement to those to make them more powerful. Also, run with your Harlock's flag and 3 other Tideseekers, and then have this Proto Tideseeker in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's the assumption. When I saw it, I assumed it was going to be a Conqueror or Conqueror Defender Hall because that's what we needed. But yeah, they can name it whatever they want. So,
it's just weird.
Yeah, it's weird. But as you see, there's stacking bonuses associated with this. That there's a slight difference in how it impacts a hunter versus a another prototype Tideseeker. It's not a massive difference. The only massive difference is that it provides a plus 35% combat speed to the hunters, which doesn't apply to the prototypes, and that's just to keep them all synced together. Even though I think it makes the hunters actually slightly faster, but like I said before, we'll see how that works out in the math.
Yeah, I thought these actually were faster than the hunters.
And they
are. These things, everything is gonna sing across the water. These things are gonna be running at full Bloodthirst at about 120 combat speed, including your. Everything is going to be just flying across the water with this because of the Bloodthirst. At full Bloodthirst, it's going to double the combat speed. And if you put a hydraulic resistor on this thing, the combat speed goes up to about 59. And it makes the hunters, at least in theory, because of the plus 35% combat speed, depends on where it's added. If it's added into the base speed or it's added onto the total speed, it's faster or slower. I don't know. Like it's one of those things that's we're not sure how the math works on certain things at this point because it's not always what is presented to us.
So another question I have after looking at this is the bonuses. It says duplicate aura cap of 1 on the hunters, but on the bonuses, the duplicate aura cap is 5 for other Proto Tideseekers. So if you add, like, say, a second Proto Tideseeker, how is that gonna unbalance the fleet because the effects are different?
Yeah, but if you look at the impact, that's what I was just trying to say. Is the Proto Tideseeker, it's adding defense, basically defense. Defense, splash reduction, and deflection. What it's adding to the Apex Hunter includes that plus 35% combat speed. So if you added that plus 35 combat speed 5 times, then it would unbalance the fleet. So
okay, I see.
So what do you think about the Proto T?
George? Technically, sorry.
I'll take the one that they give me, but after that, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the shipyard time to even mess with this thing. It looks great. The numbers look like it's going to rock on the map targets. I mean, this is probably the go-to hull for the map targets, but damn, who's going to have time to build it?
Yeah, they're giving us a free one, and we're going to show everybody what the free one looks like in a minute. But why did they do this? That's my question. You know, why? You know, it's we were told we were getting 2 hulls per cycle, and then they were going to drop it down to 1, and now all of a sudden we get a 3rd one.
Well, I think part of the problem is that the hunters weren't performing like everyone wanted on the map targets, right? I mean, they did fantastic in their target in the raid, and then they put the 102 out on the map, which is doable with the hunters. I mean, that's what I auto those if I don't have time to actually get on the game and I'm doing it on the phone. I'll just auto those things with the hunters.
Yeah.
But they're still not performing well, right? And we have these things on the map for uranium for almost a year still. So I think this was their attempt to answer that. I just don't know. Like Ren had said, man, I'd rather have seen the hunter go into the retro lab and make it into this or something. I mean,
Or why not just adjust the target?
Whose is that?
Not me.
Kermis, is that you? It's not you.
No, sir.
Now somebody tried to Facebook call me on my phone, so that was that noise. Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating that they did this at this period in time, and I don't understand it. I mean, we're still forced to rank this, right? We're not going to get a ranked version of the ship that we're going to get as a gift, quote unquote gift.
I don't know, actually. That's a good question.
Yeah.
We haven't looked to see what comes on it yet, but if it's fully armored and you have to rank it, that's going to suck.
It's all charged. It's all charged.
Yeah, just looking at my notes, it's not going to be ranked when we get it. FYI.
Okay.
I don't think.
Alrighty. All right. So, yeah, as we get through this, I mean, there's some reasons to win this. Even if you melt the hull down, even if you get it and immediately recycle it, which I'm not going to recommend, but there's some goodies on there for a lot of people that maybe didn't want to do Tech Up 3, where you didn't get any prizes besides a 1-hour repair token. There might be some goodies on there for you. So yeah, it's interesting, but it feels like it's a correction of something that wasn't planned. So I guess should we move on, or we got more on the prototypes?
Is the weapon next?
I can't remember if it's the special or the weapon. One of them.
Oh,
you want to click it, Grimace?
Flip a coin. There we go. Now this I like.
Yeah, it's good. It's good relative to the Garwood Gatling gun. But
I'm just
you want to put one more click on there?
I'm thinking of alternative uses for it. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. Now I've put the wolf's tooth next to it, and not comparing it to the Garwood Gatling gun. I mean, the windups are different. It does a lot of damage, but it doesn't do, especially per weight, it does significantly less damage per weight than the wolf's tooth does.
Yeah, but
you need to account for the windup.
Yeah.
You need to account for the windup, yeah.
That windup is going to make it.
Salvo with 3, the windup of 200% it's good, but it's not as great as just doing the simple math that we're adding plus 200%, because we also have those. We don't know what the salvo reload is, but yeah, we'll see what it looks like on the water. I mean, I guess there are.
Just at rank, you're going to be at what? What's the reload time? 10. So that's 2.5. So it's at 1.25 with at rank with the bonus. Did I do that right? I think I did that right.
For which one?
On air live math. Do not
Gatling, the Gatling gun too.
What's up, bro?
Not much.
Right.
Guys.
It's got a base reload time of 10, right? And then
Yeah.
at rank that makes it 2.5. And then
Yeah.
we cut it in half for the bonus windup, right? So it's 1.25. Is that right? Is that how the windup works?
I'm gonna have to do that because the rank bonus is different than the I don't know. I can't do that one in my head, including both the rank bonus and then the windup bonus because those are both calculated differently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at rank it's going to be 2.5, right? Just on the base reload time.
Mm-hmm.
So then you do the bonus windup off of that, right? I would think.
Yeah, but they're added differently. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do the live math. Is what I'm saying. But they're not calculated. This rank bonus, rank bonus reload, and special haul. Those
Right.
reloads are
They're
different.
calculated two different ways. But
different ways. And I'm not gonna, I don't have, I'm not gonna confirm that you're correct or incorrect. So, but
So how does the spread affect this? Because a lot of times when you're fighting in those targets, there's a big group of ships, and is covering several of them at one time.
yeah, I mean, spread is an interesting category. At least, again, this is one of those things that we have to believe the blueprint and believe in consistency. Because normally spread is divided by 5 relative to all other numbers. And this has a splash and spread of both 15. So the spread is actually 5 and the splash is 15. If we believe the blueprint. Because it's comparable to the Garwood, but is this a copy and paste error on another error? Or should we believe something more like the Wolf's Tooth, where it's a splash of 15 and a spread of 20 once you divide the spread by 5?
Are you talking about the spread on the Garwood Gatlin too?
Yes. Where it's 15 and 15.
I don't think that's a paste error. I think that's correct.
Okay, so the spread is only 5.
Yeah, 5 off center.
Okay.
Yeah,
or 3. I'm sorry, 3.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. 3 off center. So 3 off
3
center
off
with a splash of 15.
Yeah. So
that'll make it interesting.
It's going to be interesting, and it'd be interesting. I'm assuming you're going to want to use it on some sort of conqueror haul, because not much else is going to have the weight to take it. Because it's 750, as Rue likes to call it. It's on the chubby side.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So this is not a gun for your brand new prototype seeker?
No, it is for your prototype seeker, but it's not for your hunter.
It'll work phenomenally on that. It should work phenomenally on that.
Yeah, it's going to work well on your prototype seeker.
I was just posting the question.
Yeah, but it's not going to work well on your hunters or your tide seekers, because I remember some guy was like, "I'm just going to get the tech and use it on my old tide seekers," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not going to work." Because you see that the Garwood Gatling gun was released the original tide seeker, so that even doubling that weight is where it's 640. So we still got a ways to get from 640 to 750. Yeah, that wouldn't. I don't.
Yeah,
think
it's kind of like putting the phased attack cannon on your ICs. You get like one on.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one. Alrighty. It's interesting as far as what they've done with the build time. They've made this a much affordable special as far as time-wise than the original advanced concussive payload. We've gone from 50 hours to 10 hours, basically, is what's going on there. So we have 20% of the build time relative to what we saw before. We have doubled the weight. Which, you want to make one more click?
Make that click. Make it out of thin air.
There you go. Why I call it a depth charge special is because if anybody has their Fangtooth, you'll notice that you're pretty close on weight at this point. And this is actually a better special as far as, well, except for they're doing that weird math on that one. So I'll step off of that. I'm just saying, don't put this on your Fangtooth. The weight's not going to work. And they're doing a new calculation, at least as far as what shows up in your shipyard. It's not additive. It's not multiplicative. It's some bastard child of both on how it works when you combine concussive damage with torpedo damage. We're not sure that this is actually what happens at the end of the day, but the damage is like, it's multiplicative and then it's additive. It's crazy. But I'm saying this is generally just for your depth charge, and it's I don't know. Does anybody have extra weight on their hunters that they would even consider putting this on? Because it's going to double your weapon weight.
Well, with as heavy as that new Gatling gun, the Garwood is, it seems like this would just be like really heavy with advanced concussive payload too. And I haven't tried to mock anything up with it.
I'm saying on the hunters, they're both about. The weapon is even more than double. I'm just saying these aren't. I don't think these are backward compatible specials or a weapon to go back and say, oh, I'm going to put this on my hunter because of the huge increase in weight. And maybe it depends on the way that your hunters are built, but mine aren't going to take all this extra weight. I mean, my icebreakers can take one, I can slap an extra twin fire rocket on my icebreaker. I don't think I could toss one of these, the new weapon or the new special on my hunters, because they're too close on weight, at least the way I built them personally. Anybody else look at that kind of backward compatibility in some of these prizes? But at the end of the day, the end of the day, I think it all works out for 40 million raid points. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say we have a bunch of those, Fangtooth tokens. I mean, I don't know if maybe that with the sealed fire charge. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a big weight gain. But let's.
I wonder if they're gonna go back to. I was just looking at the build time. I wonder if they're gonna go back and adjust those for the older tech. Like they have some other things, but then they haven't others.
Yeah, because I didn't use advanced concussive payload. I use strike warheads because it has more damage, but it doesn't have the reload because of the build time. The build time on the advanced concussive payload has always been out of line, in my opinion. It's always been excessive. So it'd be great if they did and thought about, had a little checklist of like, oh, I'm replacing this with this. Maybe we'll bring the build times in range. But doesn't always happen. But it would be nice if they did.
Yeah, I agree.
At least if you want to take them off, because it decreases the time to take them off. All right, this is the gift that we're getting, and it has some good stuff on it. It's a 12-day, almost a 13-day build. And this is what you get if you collect the prototypes. You get the Proto Tide Seeker, the Garwood 2, and the Advanced, Concussive System 2. And they will give you this. Did they give this to you right away, or is it after the raid is over?
I think it's after the raid, and I'm pretty sure we have to have an open spot in our shipyard, otherwise you won't get it.
Well, they need to communicate that well, because a lot of people don't have that extra space. I mean, I guess you could always delete a hunter, but
well, that's why everyone's supposed to be watching the show, right?
Yeah. It's our job, right? But one of the nice things that they've given us is the Countermeasure Loaders 4, which I don't have because I wasn't going to do that crazy tech up 3 and get 1 hour build tokens for taking 4 hours of damage, and hoping that maybe out of the 9 I was going to get something. You're going to get a couple extra Gale 3s, and you're going to get charged armors, and it seems even if you part it out, like I said before, it's still not a bad deal. Not that I'm recommending you do that, but it's still not a bad deal for the Waypoint prizes.
This is now the second build that's come out of Kixeye that actually is, for what it is, pretty decent. And at the same time, they seem to be trying to add value to the offer, the thing that they're giving us, or the thing that you're going to buy, whatever, by offering things like that countermeasure loader 4, the charged armors. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 limited specials, and then 4 limited armors on this thing. That's and 2 limited weapons. That's
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that. The countermeasure loaders 4, because that was the only one of those that I didn't get.
Yeah, and I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying you haven't had that chance again to get it. It hasn't come back around.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like I've seen a lot of people, just like with that Vanquisher build, poo-pooing this build and stuff, and they're like, oh, well, instead of agility 4, you can use this and da da da. I'm like, I don't think that's the point of why the build is like. The build is it's a decent build on its own, but it's also bringing value to what they're giving you by putting those things in the build. They're trying to,
like George is saying, like if you get this and you don't have countermeasure loader 4, and that's something you want to put on your Inferno Dragons or something else, you can use that blueprint elsewhere.
The PBX
you can't really use. Yeah, then you don't have to do.
Because there were people that couldn't do that. Yeah, they couldn't do that one TLC just to get the PBX, but maybe they had the ships to do the other one, and this will allow them to advance.
Potentially. I'm not sure how big that group is, but I think the group that doesn't have countermeasure loader 4 is probably larger than the people that can earn this and can't get PBX. But
agreed.
I mean, I could see that there is maybe a couple people out there that are like that. So, all right. No, I think this is sort of a winner. And what this does, if you can complete the weapon, the special, and the haul, you open up the unlock store. And I think the unlock store is where the real prizes, the game changers, lie. And that's where the game, the things that are going to change your game are in the lock store. If you're a high mid-level player to a high-level player, this is where the magic is, at least in my mind, as far as things go. So I guess we can go on to the next slide if you want, Grimace.
What if he doesn't? Hey, Rum, speak up, dude. Come on.
I'm here. I just got back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had the mic on mute on my end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I was going to call this a turret.
Oh,
because
no.
Add the extra N in there because it's nasty.
No.
It's nasty.
I recall a turret joke on one of the articles that drove people nuts.
No, but we can call this a turret just because it is nastier than against.
I've officially muted both of them because they can't be saying turret. They got to go turret.
Yeah, we'll keep on going with turret just to piss you off now.
No.
We can always boot you, but
I know.
no, because this is nasty.
Yeah, it
because
looks
once
tough.
you start, it's got a half a second reload time. It's got a single salvo of 106,000. And then it's got a special that we'll see a little bit later, which I'm not sure is always going to be the best special. We have to see what everything stacks with, because that adds 85% building damage. You put an attack transformer, adding plus 35%. You add your auras associated from your fire supports, which don't add 75%. If you got 5 of them, they're probably adding a little over, right around 100%. And then you add in at the bottom these ballistic damage bonuses of plus 25 on both.
Don't forget your faction bonus.
Yeah, if you've gone ballistic, you can ask, what is it, 20%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not even sure that's necessary, to be honest, because you're getting some big numbers here.
All I know is I chuckled when I started seeing people going, "Oh, it's not going to break deflection. It's not going to break reflection." You
Right.
keep thinking that. Come on, visit me.
No. I mean, what this screams out loud right now is our next haul that we're going to see in Bounty is going to be a Ballistic Conqueror. So that's what this screams, from the rooftops. I mean, because otherwise,
it will have ballistic deflection. Is that what you mean, or it actually will be using?
I think it's going to do both, because we've seen explosive damage. We've seen a damage type paired with deflection on the tier 7.
Right.
So it's going to be ballistic both ways. So, ladies and gentlemen, upgrade your walls.
Damn.
Get them all to level 10. We're not going to do that. Maybe we're going to do that show on Friday. They keep on trying to. The man keeps on trying to prevent me from doing my wall building show.
The man's keeping you down.
Yeah.
I might be the man, because I don't want to have anything to do with that one.
Nope.
Whatever. Okay. So, what does everybody else think? About this turret?
I think that
it's like nails on a chalkboard.
FA, where are you? Do you really want to get the raid done?
What are you gonna do?
I may come visit him.
And what? Just give him a bubble every couple
I
days?
didn't say in game, did I?
What? Are you gonna stack my fleets? Because once I get this up,
No.
Once I get this up, you're not getting.
I think he's physically threatening you.
It's possible.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna get a DNS attack on him.
You realize
are you threatening
that
with a good
this
time?
is actually posterity, right? I mean, I'm just saying.
There was no threat issue. I just said I was going to come see him.
So back to the turn.
All right.
So we'll buy him a steak dinner and keep him from playing the game.
I think that this is actually another step towards that whole, like, them trying to balance PvP. And the problem with it is that, like, I can kind of see where they're going with this, because eventually we're going to be at a point where we're going to have a slew of hulls to choose from, and then a slew of turrets to choose from, right? And then the catch is like you're gonna have to sit there.
Rest of them turrets? Just this one, because you add the extra N because it's nasty.
Yeah. So
turret in, not turret.
Yeah.
So this
You're
gets
gonna call
to the
it
point,
Janet.
we're gonna get to the point
Miss
of
Jackson.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, George.
That one. Anyway, hopefully then, not now. But anyway, off track and off the path. No, I think this is another step towards that balance, and I think we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna have the toolbox for both sides, and it's gonna get back to probably where we were mid to like the third quarter of 2016, where we'll have a decent balance. Now the question is, by the time before we get there, it's going to keep on going with this 2-week bullshit thing of, hey, click the back of the base, hey, you die before you even get like halfway in the channel, right? And then after we get to that balance point, I'm very curious to see how they're going to go forward. That's going to be the catch. That's going to be the test right there, to see how they do going forward, to see if they can maintain that balance
Yeah, but
or
George,
if we've gone through all of this for nothing.
I
No,
see the
but
part of
you
your
but
point.
you keep on needing to get it because if they it depends on how the next bounty haul matches with this. It's like we're still in that swing phase. I mean, because this looks really. I mean, once you start running the numbers, it looks really, really, really powerful.
Yep. There
Unless they
are
add a different
So,
armor or
there are
something going on.
well, I mean, we haven't seen a Conqueror armor in a while. That might be coming, but I mean, the other thing is that there is a ship that can take this damage right now. It
yeah, and
can't
that was
take
my
the
next question.
Executioner, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing is it's getting to the point where it's a toolbox thing, and to crack the top bases, you're going to have to sit and actually like do old style base hitting, pick it apart
Are you?
and get in.
I think this is like we're getting close to them. Once you put in, assuming what everything stacks together. That's my question before. But the charge rails, the EM charge rails, with that massive critical, is that's gonna and the 0.5% reload, the half a second reload time in the 190 range. Yeah, I'm not sure that we have something. Do you think the Boulder Fist will one of these built well could make it through? I mean, the numbers get really huge once you
Yeah,
start putting
but
the
I mean,
specials and
the native on the boulder is 400 and something, right?
Yeah.
It's like 400 and something, and then
Mhm.
you throw on a like siege, one of the siege specials to cut the turret damage in half. Rum's just itching now. I mean, I don't know. I would
I'm in
have to run.
hives.
I would have to run and see like if you have these stacked with five of the what do you call it? The fire supports. I mean, with 5 fire supports, does it break it? I mean, I don't know. And then if it does break it, by how much? If it's only like
Yeah.
20,000, you can probably sit under that for a little bit while you're getting something to scoot around the other side. I mean, that's how we used to do it. We'd put something up in front, take the damage from, I mean, what was it? Not the Guardian, that damn flat boat that shot all the damn D98Us. You'd park something right up front so the things would hit that and scoot around to try and get in the base. I mean, there was a bunch of different things that we used to do in base hitting that we don't anymore. And it looks like it might get back to that point, I think. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how they do this, the balancing going forward. And again, once we do get to a place of a decent balance where that is happening, can they maintain it? That's going to be the big question, I think.
That'll be the critical part. Otherwise, we just bored again. You can
Well,
either
and the
hang
other
tight or
thing,
not.
I don't know if I'm going to put this right or not, but the other thing that I kind of thought of was like the um where they tier 5 holes like the Liberator and stuff, the ones that were supposed to be end up being like Voltron. If you mixed and matched them depending on what you were hitting. Was that tier 5? Tier
Yeah,
6?
I don't know what the hell
Somewhere,
it
I
was.
don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. But that got so complicated that it wasn't even fun anymore. And I'm worried that this is just the base version of that kind of.
No, well, that got complicated because you had to figure out what was stacking for what and what was carrying a deflection for the other hulls, and you were having one hull affect another, and then another, and this hull affected that one. And that's where that got complicated. This goes back, I think it harkens back to how we used to base it. Like this one can, has X amount of like back in the day it was resistance, right? This one has a whole ton of ballistic resistance. You can hit the space that has a bunch of, whatever the hell ballistas and shit in it. I mean, they've uncomplicated that aspect of it, but it's going back to and it used to be base hitting used to be where you had to figure out what you wanted to bring to break the base. I mean
Yeah,
that type of complication is not new.
I agree, but we also have 6 damage types now instead of 3. And when you're dealing with all these different types of turrets, you're like, oh, I got to bring this one in first, then I got to go with that one, then I got to go with that one. It makes it still very complicated compared to what it used to be, I think. I mean, it's still better than what it was, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like it could end up being very complicated again.
I don't know.
You know, I mean,
we have-
right now we have a couple of holes that people are using, you know, for top bases, and then when we end up with 6 of them, with 6 turrets, you know, how complicated is that going to be?
I don't think it's gonna be that complicated. I mean, we know it's not like we're unfamiliar with the damages now. You know, I just hope that they get to a point where it stops being, you know, every 2 weeks it's gonna be, you know, the base hitters, and then it's gonna be the base defenders, and then the base hitters, and that kind of swing. That's what we were complaining about all year last year, and it's still happening now.
Yep.
You know, and I understand why it's happening. I mean, I can see what they're doing, and it's different than last year, but it's still happening. So, I don't know. I would have preferred to see maybe smaller increments, and maybe that doesn't, you know, go in line with the whole tier 7 idea. But, you know, if we're going to do a hard reset like this every time we go up a tier, what happens when we hit to tier 8? Are we going to go through this whole thing again? I mean, I don't want to do this again.
No.
You know, this is supposed to be correcting the issues that we ran into last year. And if it does that, awesome. But if it only corrects them for, you know, 4 to 6 months, I'm going to have a problem.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting tired of everything being recycled. I'm looking for something new, something fun. If they keep forcing me to hit the same targets for FM and for uranium and titanium, and they keep recycling, making you use Fangtooth for the next 9 months, I'm getting really tired of that. I want something fresh.
In terms of what?
In terms of something different. I don't want to keep seeing mortar, missile, ballistic, mortar, missile, ballistic.
Well, you're not going to, because they vowed, except they broke their vows and they fell off the wagon associated with the prototype seeker, with simplified stat blocks. And the reason, you know, because we have 7 deadly sins and whatnot.
Yeah, that's not what he's saying. No.
I'm talking about the repetitiveness of the game and the target, and the recycling of the technology.
So what? All right, let me see if I can narrow this down here. So you have a problem with the repetitive nature of the targets that we see on the map, right? Although
Currently.
the FM, we're going to be seeing a change 3 times a year.
That's fine.
Or something like that.
How long?
And you say that now? Hold on. Now you say that's fine, but the majority of people that I've spoken to, and I mean a vast majority, are not happy with this change.
No, you're not. I'm specifically talking about the use of Fangtooth. How many TLCs do we have right now where you need Fangtooth? You need Fangtooth on the Herculean. You need Fangtooth on the Hunter games. You can use Fangtooth on the Hidden Depths. They weren't necessarily designed for it. And, oh, yeah, my daily Scourge Blockade uses, guess what? Fangtooth.
I don't use Fangtooth for any of that, first off. But second off, you don't need the Hunter game one. You don't need the Hidden Depths. I mean, you have both of those things already. The Herculean, you know, you might want the charged armor. Okay.
No, yeah, I think you want more than that. You want the siege tokens to add the escalation to your Hydras.
Well, I think he's also speaking to a larger issue that I've brought up several times, is the fact that we're a lot of the TLCs, at least as currently compromised or constructed, are very chore-like.
Oh, yeah.
Doing a 1 hour TLC with 7 targets in it, and both the assault one, if you have Phoenixes, and if you're using Fangtooth and the skirmish ones, you spend all your time running away. So the only way you make the time is how efficiently you can run away. And it's yeah, I mean, like I said, just chop it down to the last 3, because, you know, the people that, you know, aren't people that are completing these aren't taking damage on the first 3 or 4, or either that or it's instant repair.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I've said the same thing before. I mean, that's I cannot stand, and I don't do a lot of the TLCs now because of that. I don't have the time, and I don't want to sit there and friggin' blow an hour just doing one thing, because it feels chore like. Now,
They're boring.
That's not to say I have a problem with the hulls that I have to use in them. I just don't like the way that it's set up. That's a little bit different than what Rum's saying. You know
But
what
I think it
mean?
would probably solve Rum's problem if he didn't have to spend an hour straight on them.
Yeah, he'd get less bored for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of what you guys are saying is the problem. I hate having to use the same boat on several targets at the same time. We've done this before. We used monoliths forever. We've used Zelos forever. That's why the change to the dragon, although I don't like the way that the damage they take, is okay. It's a new target. It's something fun. Okay, but I don't. If I never had to see a Hellwraith again, if I never had to see a Fangtooth again, and I like subs, I'm not picking on subs. It's just the ones that's sticking out in my brain right now that we've used repetitively. I hate the repetitive nature of what they do.
Oh man, I'll
Well-
tell you, I used to love driving subs. I really did. And I mean, you know, I've done vids on all the stuff I've done. I'm all the way back to the Hellwraith ones. One of the first videos that I did was killing that damn S target, right?
I remember.
I hate using subs now. I can't stand using my fangs. I can't stand the fact that if I goof up and I hit like retreat or I go back into base for a second, not realizing it, I can't take the damn things out again.
But
It's all
you're
of
right,
it.
George.
It's all of
It
it.
sucks. Okay, but it's a combination. It's having a stale target with stale fleets that you have to hit for 6 months in a row, and the quantity of those targets that you have to hit for 6 months in a row. It just do something creative.
And that's why I'm
Well-
a big proponent of the auto hull, because fuck doing all that shit.
Yeah, it's target fatigue, which is showed up not really recently, but it's because the targets that they've created over the last year in 2017 had so many, like, you know, if you take a look at the TLCs where you're using your Fangtooth, I'm like, oh my god, look at the number of ships I need to kill.
Yeah.
It is just it's not I don't know if it's the targets themselves, but it's how much time they take to hit each one. I don't know. You know, it could be a combination of the two, because it's like I started hitting. You know, I had hit dub bases in a long time. I'm like, oh, this is sort of interesting because I hadn't hit them in months, and I was like, okay, I'll hit those, just out of curiosity. And I hit them, and it was, you know, it was fun because I hadn't seen that target. But it seems like they should come up with different targets, because, you know, one of the things I was thinking about was with the FM before this big change that we're getting the 117 and we're, you know, and the 112, we're dropping the 115, is like, why don't we take the, you know, do the 103, the 115, and the 117, and then you get, you know, $1.5 million for hitting all three. You know, something where you're not forced to hit the highest value target for you, and it gives you additional bonus being able to hit all three and things of that nature, because it seems like it's costly for them to develop targets. But if you find a way for the player base to find less chore-like to hit multiple targets that have different parts of them, you know, different, slightly different strategies. Like, okay, because, you know, who bothers? Do you bother with the 103, George, or Rum, or Grimace?
The 103 for base parts?
No, the
No.
103.
For the FM.
No, the 103 in the FM.
No, I don't think I've
No.
ever hit one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we were forced to hit the 103, the 115, and the 117, and then we get like we double our points because we've hit all three, I think it would be
I
more
would
enjoyable for the player.
Absolutely hate that. I would absolutely hate that. I want my choice.
Why?
Because I want my choice.
Well, you get a bonus. It's not like or either that, or you can just grind a single target to death.
Can we move on, because we still have a lot of
Sure. Go ahead. We'll look at the turret special, the heavy ballistic shells. I mean, I did have one of my patented pictures for this, but I just thought it was.
Well, we need to see the patented picture to judge it for ourselves.
No.
Heavy.
I decided not to. The heavy ballistic shells were not. Yeah,
That's
I
after show material. Holy crap!
So this is the special that you get. It's in the lock store along with the Howitzer 6 or whatever it is, and it provides a huge amount of ballistic damage, moderate amount of ballistic accuracy, and 100% projectile speed. It's lighter than what I consider its predecessor, the depleted uranium shells. And depleted uranium shells add more ballistic accuracy.
That wasn't a splash weapon, was it?
What?
It's an accuracy-based weapon, right? The new
Yes.
turret.
Yep.
We assume so. Yeah, we assume so.
It is
It
an
has
accuracy.
70%.
Does projectile speed really make a big difference on an accuracy-based weapon? I mean, I could see it on
not
a splash-based
one that can't be countered. It makes a big difference if it can be countered in some way.
Right.
But if it can't be countered, I don't think it makes that big of a difference unless somebody else thinks otherwise.
No.
Okay. All right. So once we see these, it's really going to depend on what the heavy ballistic shells stack with, because depleted uranium shells 3, they stack with a bunch of stuff that's could make that Howitzer 6 very powerful. So before you go ahead and use base parts to build it, I would
Huh?
what?
Jesus.
Hello.
Nothing. Sorry.
Okay. I would just make sure, because right now we don't know what it stacks with. And so I'm just saying what it stacks with, because that ballistic accuracy difference of 30% could be quite large. Because the Howitzer only has a accuracy of 70%, as I recall. But you can stack it with things like
75.
what?
75.
75.
75, but as it deals with evade and whatnot, there's other specials out there that stack and that give you 40-45% accuracy. They do shoot at the target with the least health, but there might be options, but we can't talk about them now, or I don't know about them now, as far as like what heavy ballistic shells does not stack with. And that could be crucial in my mind. So, but it is lighter. So, all right. Any more thoughts on this?
Not till we get more information.
Yeah, I still don't really understand the projectile speed on something that's accuracy based.
Well, they did it. They did it with the Executioner 2 special. They've been doing that recently because everybody likes it. Put on projectile speed. So it's like, if it doesn't matter, they're somehow getting fed information that projectile speed is, the kids like it. I mean, that's my opinion.
You guys are just thinking for that one turret.
Yeah,
What about the
because
other
you could
ballistic
add projectile
turrets? 'Cause
speed
we
onto
have-
something else with that.
We do have ballistic
Yeah,
turrets that
that's true.
aren't accuracy based.
Yeah.
So,
Because that was my thought when I looked at this special. I'm like, this makes a lot more sense on the blunderbuss, but the blunderbuss is no longer really relevant except for minimum damage on the tier 7.
But we may get something down the road that's more like a buffed up blunderbuss that this would work well on. So
buffed up blunderbuss. Say that 7 times fast. All right, let's move on. Oh, yep. This is nice.
Yep.
I would recommend putting this on, if you haven't already put the X armor on your dock, your labs, whatnot, put it on them. I mean, you're using your labs, you're using, your oil platform, you're using different things to buff up your your turrets and your outpost and everything else. And this 500,000 armor is huge. I mean, because some of these things have 6,000 armor. So it just keeps them in the game. Does not add to repair time unless they've changed in the last couple of days. So it's like I said earlier, I think this raid is about these last three specials. The turret armor, well, not necessarily the special, because the special, really depends on what it stacks with. But the howitzer, this raid, in my opinion, is all about the defensive specials and weapons, the defensive technology that we're getting. And this is another example. It's got the same stats as the D5X, except for it's penetrating as explosive. I'm assuming the same build time. It's got the same power consumed, same armor points, and whatnot. So I think it's cool. I would definitely spend the points on it.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely grabbing this.
Yeah, and it doesn't. It takes, what is it, like 135,000 base parts or 145,000 base parts? Even if you want to swap them out for the X's, it's a good move. I mean, this is definitely something you want to grab. So, alrighty, time to move on. Alrighty.
You have to purchase one of the top ones so you can get into the locked store.
Yeah. And that was weird how they kept on going back and forth.
All they had to say was you have to purchase one of the top ones. That's all they got to say. And I don't know why they keep on not, like, they want to try and phrase it in different ways, and it's not working for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's 40,000 points. If you already have the Buccaneer, should unlock the store. And it's, I'm assuming everybody that listens to the show, I'm assuming has the Buccaneer at this point.
I would hope.
Wait, you mean you mean it's 400,000, right? You said 40,000.
Oh, 40 million. I'm sorry.
40 million.
40 million.
Yeah. We were both wrong.
Oh, so you're saying to unlock that you have to get every single thing, or the proto?
Well, no. At this point in time, you need to unlock, not previously unlocked, but you need to unlock one of the two things: either mass augmentation nexus or advanced concussive payload. You need to unlock one of them during the upcoming raid. Can't be previously unlocked. So if you already own the mass augmentation nexus, you're not going to have the store unlocked. But if you just unlock that because you don't have it, then you unlock the store. But if you already have that unlocked, you need to go to the right-hand side and get the Protoid Gatling Gun 2 and the Advanced Concussive Payload 2.
Yeah. I think all of this is self-explanatory on this.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Well, I'm just saying this because Mom's here.
Right.
So,
I have trouble understanding this. But thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Let's move on, Grimace.
So I'm going for the Hellstar shards.
Junk.
Man of War all the way, baby. But the bottom three, you're gonna end up spending 50 million. What?
Oh, that's two of me. I'm sorry. 30 and 20, yeah.
Yeah. So 50 million. And these I think are the best purchases in this rate.
I don't know. I'm trying to get Mark to get another Man of War. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you can only spend 8 million on that one. And I'm not sure if he's traveling or he's getting transition surgery after last night's show. So I'm not sure what's going on. So he may not have the opportunity. But yeah, I would highly recommend getting, if you can't get both of them, because you've already needed to spend 40 million in order to get here. So now you're signed up for 90 million.
Yeah.
And
And
again, heavy ballistic shells is the one I'm the least in love with out of the three. Because if you have depleted uranium shells 3, they do slightly different things, but there's no way in hell they stack. But yeah, they could be comparable depending on how much evade people can put on the upcoming hull, the upcoming ballistic hull. So, all right. Any more on Man of War shards or Katie shards?
no, I do want to note that there's no charged armor in either of these.
Oh yeah, which is, I think, if communication had been proper, I think is an excellent move.
Well, for the ones in the FM, for the ones that are in the FM, that's fine. But the ones that are current, that are only in TLCs, I'm not that thrilled with that choice.
Yeah, but would you rather have to spend 100 million in raid points to get all that, or would you rather do a simple TLC and the FM?
I would rather have a choice, because if I don't have time to do the TLC, I may have time to do it in the raid. The FM is something that I have, every week, all month, and we're going to get 5 a month, which is still kind of because if you're fitting some stuff out, you might need more than 5 in 1 month.
Yeah, I think, like I was trying to say earlier, it's just the way it was communicated. It wasn't communicated until this point in time that we're not going to get the opportunity for both.
Well, they could have communicated.
If they told us at the beginning of the month that, we're taking the charge armors out of the raid and we're putting them in the FM and a TLC, because the charged armors next month, after this raid in the FM, you're still going to be able to earn 5 of each of the basic ones, and then they're going to also run charged path again next month.
But that doesn't change. They can communicate it any way they want. That doesn't change the mechanic in which we get the prizes. It's taking out the choice from the raid, from the players.
But there wasn't a choice before.
Both.
They just changed the way it's delivered.
What do you mean?
You didn't have a choice before.
Sure, you
did. There wasn't in the
FM,
right?
If it was in the prize list, you could buy it if you wanted it. You could do your raid and do it.
But it wasn't in the FM before, right?
Right.
Okay,
and
so that's now they just moved
what did I preface my whole thing with? I said the ones that are in the FM are fine, because I don't need them. I mean, I think you might need a little bit more than 10, but 5 a month. But the ones that are current, that are not in the FM, should have been in the raid.
It's a change. It's not a choice, because you weren't able to get it to the charge path before. So it just changed the location. They haven't, you didn't have a choice before. Like, I'm going to get in the raid or I'm going to get in the charge path.
They changed the location, but they also changed the mechanic in which we get it from. Now I have to do a TLC for it. And we just got finished saying how shitty the TLCs are to do.
No, that one is cool, because you got to hit 1 target per prize pack, and I love that. I mean, I'm talking about the 1 hour 7 target one. This is the 20 minutes 1 target one, which I love. I think those are great. I mean, those are the ones I really like. Charge path, path to the continent.
And they're co-op.
Not that crazy co-op one where everybody dies and then, and wishes they were dead afterwards, after they spent, they have they have 7 days of repairs, and they also spent 300 coins, and that one I'm not talking about. But like Path to the Continent and Charge Path, I think they're very reasonable for higher end players. I don't know. But and so they've changed it because people were complaining the fact that, okay, I have to spend 10,000 per armor. I have to spend 6,000 per armor. The amount of points that those required was huge, and
Right.
it really dragged down the raid. And I really, we have
Okay.
to get
And some
way
of them-
less
So
points
again, the question
Some
is,
of
why
them-
not have it in both?
because then they can't keep in control of the economy. The economy is what they're trying to control. Like
The
how
economy
many
is
are out
what?
there?
Dude, the people that are getting these things, there's no economy. We're already set. I'm setting all of them. I just
Okay.
really dislike the fact that I don't have a choice to pick them up in the raid. I do well in raids. I've invested in my raid fleets. I invest time and coin in the raids. I want to be able to get the shit that I want to get in the raids. It's really that
Okay.
simple.
Well, if we look at the actual unlock prizes, not the ones that are missing, there's some interesting ones. The onslaught. the
actually,
Tapestry-
I do want to bring one more point up because Cuttlefish actually mentioned
Okay.
in the chat too. For the ones that are in the FM, for the players that actually want to get the stuff and it's in the FM, right? Because those like the X and the M's have been really cheap in some of the raids lately. You still need to take 2 months of FM to get the M's and X for a fleet, correct?
Mhm.
It doesn't take 2 months to build a fleet.
No, but so if they were offering five, what I'm saying is if they offered 5 X armors in the raid, and now they moved it to the FM, it's not a choice. They just made a change because you couldn't do both before.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So you're saying that now we have the opportunity to get 10 in a month, which is a whole different thing. I'm just saying I like the fact that they took it out of the raid and simplified it, made it much easier to get the charged armors because they're mandatory. They're not a luxury item. And that's the part I like.
And I don't
I
understand.
mean,
but
the
thing
amount
is,
that they give you in
change,
the FM is...
that change is fine, okay, in and of itself. But from both a player perspective and a business perspective, it doesn't make any sense to not have it in the raid. Because from the player perspective, you have a chance to get the armors that you need, right? And you have the choice to get it if you have the points for it, right? And then from a business perspective, you're again, it goes back to why are you not giving the players the opportunity to purchase things from you, to give you money? If I want to go, if there's a player that wants to go in the raid and wants to get that stuff and wants to coin a little bit to get, make sure they have enough armors to get their fleet that they have planned for that month out, fucking let them.
Well, I blame product. I mean, what happens? Would you have a problem if they release 10 in the FM?
If they,
As
had
opposed to
10,
5?
if they had 10 per month in the FM of the X and the M, then I don't have to see it in the raid. That one makes sense.
Okay. But you were seeing 5 and 5 before, right? You were seeing 5 and 1. How many were we? How many X's? How many M's were we able to get last raid? If it was 5, right?
When they first came out, it was 10.
Yeah, but recently we were able to get 5. Like last raid, we were able to get 5 of each, right?
I don't recall. I don't know.
I think we were able to get 5 of each. And that's what I'm saying. They transferred it. There wasn't a choice. There was just a transference.
Right.
So,
and I don't like the idea that it was transferred. If they wanted to have an alternative path to get it, that's fine. I disagree with the fact that it is not in the raid.
Well, it must have been my idea because you know how much they listen to me. So let's. The one I found interesting was the fact that the onslaught and appears to have a pretty cheap price. To get, allow people into the PvP game. I mean, 4.5 million is not bad. This is unlocked. The special Namor, are those are pricey, in my opinion. I'm not sure that unless I've, I got all the missile storm cruisers.
No tactical
The
focus.
last,
Yeah, no
Yeah,
tactical
yeah,
focus.
no
You get
tactical
5 of them too.
yeah. So the people that already had 3, you can now get 5. The mortar and special still seem pricey, and it was. I think we did see a bump up on the build tokens with the Hydra and the Buccaneer of 10 each. I think it was 5 each last time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
On the
Yeah.
tokens?
Yeah. I
The
think we were able
one-day
to
build
get
tokens.
the 1-day build tokens for the Hydra and the Buccaneer. I'm
Damn,
pretty
I
sure there
can't
were
remember.
5 each last time. Now we're up to 10, which is helpful. I think it helps with the fact that the Dragon Inferno has become such a need at this point, or potential need in the future. So it's I think that's a good move. They're
We had some dragon build tokens or something in there.
Yeah, I think this is compensation
Yeah,
for
I
that.
wish.
Yeah, because they're not half the price of a generic token, but they're getting there. It's 2 million versus 3.5 million, so it's not all that bad. So anything else I missed? And you could the cap limit on the Chameleon CR Prime is still 1. Everybody, I mean, I've been trying to message them to try and get that to more than 1, but I don't think it's happening because I know everybody's building the crap out of those.
I have a whole fleet already.
CR Primes, yeah. So, does anybody else see anything? I mean, besides the fact that we can own, even if you're willing to spend as many raid tokens as you want, that you can only get 100,000 uranium when it costs 190,000 uranium to upgrade a turret from level 8 to level 9, and it's going to cost you 15,000 raid points or 15 million raid points. That seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the payouts. I was looking at the payouts that they give you when you reach the point levels in the raid. Those are terrible too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
the
they're
little
from like 1983. It's like big hair and blue eyeshadow.
Aquanet.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's some crunchy hair going on there. Yeah, there's some issues going on with the uranium and the other payouts as far as the limited resources.
They just need to either leave the fucking map stuff, the targets on the map, and get rid of salvages, or hell, and get rid of the fucking gantries. Why? I don't know why the gantry's on the fucking map.
Well, except for in bounty, you can keep all those targets out, right? But in the raid, you can't. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, well, we got to take them off the map, but you kept them on in bounty, so.
Dude, they kept them on in bounty, and they added more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what, well, I'm considering the those PvE targets, the replica bases, to sort of be like raid targets.
Yeah.
And I don't
That's
know
what I mean. They added more targets, and it's not like they're like, well, they can't say that it's the S targets that are going to cause the problem, because we're hitting those out of our freaking tower, which is still asinine.
Yeah.
But no, it is what it is, I guess.
All right, Griffiths, let's go to the next slide.
I'm already there, man.
Hurry it up.
All righty. I just wanted to bring this up. Is the lower count amount, because last week we talked about Magic Mike ran some. He ran basically a singular thing, and there might be people, and he did see a benefit hitting the last of Charged Path with this on his Buccaneers.
which is what the
But
89 blitz target.
Yeah,
That's
I
the,
think so.
that's the 89.
but he did have a problem now hitting the base part targets with his cannoneers because of the shortened range. So I'm not sure what to say here because he was seeing about a 10% bonus by putting this on, but now at least the targets he's hitting, he's he's taking more damage on the base part target. So it's
but the base
because those are the
parts-
older targets.
Yeah, I was gonna say the base parts targets are gonna change.
Yeah, but they're still around. He doesn't have an alternative.
No
So-
cannoneers.
Well, he doesn't have an alternative if you want to use the Buccaneers. Because those targets are so herky-jerky, that the cannoneers are glass cannons. Glass
Mhm.
cannoneers.
That's true.
So if you have any amount of lag or whatnot, you could be ended up taking home hours and hours of damage. And the Buccaneers are a safer way, not necessarily a better way to hit those targets. Because if you can hit use the cannoneers against the 103s, you can walk out with 0 damage. But you can hit the 99s with a Buccaneer and take instant repair damage on the map. But you could also hit these targets with the cannoneers and come back with 12 hours of damage. So the Buccaneers are the safe way to go, not necessarily the best way to go. And this is all due to lag.
So
we could talk about
the Bucks right now. You can hit the 99s for instant repair damage on auto.
not on auto.
Oh, okay.
You got to control them because of the spurter. The spurter in the middle, they'll just aim at it out of range and just get
Okay.
You can't auto it. You can't auto it.
I like that you put this up here because I actually auto the 67s because I'm lazy, so I do it while I'm doing other stuff. But I actually am. I put this on because I haven't rebuilt anything on my Bucks at all. It's the same build from last raid. The only change that I've done is I've added this to my boon, and that's it. And we're gonna see how that works because, yeah, I've been building dragons. There be dragons.
All right. Let's move on, Curtis. All right, FM discussion. You're going to get 300 points for the 112 that's going to replace the 115. You get 500,000 points for the 117. The 112 we assume is going to be a baby 117 and not like the 115. So using that mechanic, best to be used with a icebreaker fleet that's retrofitted, refitted, whatever, and ranked, or potentially using your Inferno Dragon. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what level of Inferno Dragon you can hit the 112 with.
I've done the 117 with just 2, but they did have to have full armor on them. Now the other thing is that I know this came up, but there's some of us that have been really pushing to try and keep the 115 around for a little bit more. I don't know if they're going to. I think they're open to the idea, but I don't know how they're going to actually be able to pull that off because I can't see all of the targets still being viable and on the map without throwing off everything for the dragon owners.
Yeah, I just wish they waited another month before they pulled the 115, or at the very least, if not doing that, at the beginning of the month after the last raid, tell us is this going to happen? That we're going to pull the 115. Just communicate that to us, so people weren't building hydras or their secondary siege raid hall at the same time, and like, oh, okay, I'll get to the dragon and whatnot.
Well, man, come on. We've in every single show, every single friggin' page, we always say FM first, FM before anything else.
But they told us eventually they were going to repair it. I mean, but yeah, they say that. But that's been, people have been saying that for years. It's not like they didn't tell us when it was going to happen. That's the problem.
All I know is that FM stuff came out and they said that's the new stuff. It's going to change the target. That's the first thing that I did. That's what went right into the day that I got it, the first day of the raid, I was already building dragons. It's the FM.
Yeah, but you're in a group
Always
that
FM
told you what
first.
was going on. Yeah.
No, man, I've written 2 articles now in the last 2 years. FM first. Always FM first. Every show that I've ever been on, FM first. Anytime it's come up, always worry about FM first.
Yeah, and we also had GDR write an article said that we're not going to fuck this one up next time when we transfer over to the FM. So then we're thinking, okay, he's going to allow time for people to build the technology associated to hit the 117 because they realized what a mistake they did when they introduced the 115. And that's the other side of it. Like, this feels like a fuck up for a lot of players that don't have the technology involved built at this point in time. And he went out and made a point that we realized what we fucked up on the 115. And so we're not going to do that again. And this feels like they're doing that again. At least in my opinion.
I know I built 4 holes and I ranked them. And I've been putting like the base stuff that I know that they need on them, and I've been kind of waiting for the targets to come out because I mean the 117s are out, but I've been waiting on the 112s to come out because the 117s seem so difficult, I guess is the word. They seem like all the dragons I've seen have taken a lot of damage except for like George's latest. I mean, he's doing much better.
I got it down to 40 minutes.
I mean, I'm still not even comfortable with that. Like, that's a lot of damage for one target, it seems like.
I think, you know what, honestly, I think that this is what they wanted when they first put out the 115 with those crazy ass missiles and stuff. They wanted us to take damage, right? And we all freaked out and we flipped out, especially because of the way that they released that one, and then they switched it out, and then we got, the Zealous overdid it again. And I don't think they ever intended us to be able to do the FM for no damage. Now, the catch is this. I've also started testing. I was testing some Zealous beforehand. I actually, of all things, tested a Gridiron with the Dragons in the 117. And there's some possibilities here. The Zealous, unfortunately, for both the Zealous and the Gridiron, you have to drive like crazy to get them to work. But man, they work. And I could see some very low damage numbers if you decided you wanted to do it that way. Honestly, I'm just gonna drive the hell out of these things. I don't want to mess with that. So I'm just gonna go with the Dragons. But there are options. There are some things that you can do to do some very fun things in that target. Now, the other thing that I did find in the testing that I don't know if anybody's actually mentioned is that little green doohickey missile actually has a whole lot of splash on it, and it does both explosive and penetrative damage. And that one took a while to actually get proof positive on testing, but I actually got it. That is, I actually have a still of the Gridiron. I was sitting underneath one of them waiting for the charges to drop, and the missile charged left. All I had left was one little sliver of explosive, and it lit up when they got hit, when the Dragons got hit. So, there are options. There are options. Right now, my best time for the Dragons is with a Savage lead, the Dragons, and a pinch, and I pinch the far cluster of mortars going in, and the lowest one on that one was 40 minutes. So did a lot of testing this week. I think I ended up with, after getting everything in the FM, I still had like another 13 million points left.
How much is a 4-ship fleet if it's completely killed? How much repair time?
Was it 3 hours a ship? I don't know, or 2 hours 40 something. something like that. I don't recall.
So like 12 hours for the full fleet of 4.
Yeah, and Laredo yesterday said something along the lines of the target's actually designed for 5 of them. So I think what they intended was 5 dragons for the first third of the year, and then the second one would have the flag probably, because we're not getting the flag for a while, and then that leaves the last third of the year. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be just escalation weapons. I don't know if it's going to be a completely new fleet. Hell if I know what the hell's coming up. But he did mention that last night, so I thought that was interesting.
So they want you to build 5, scrap one of them, and then build the flag later on.
Yeah, and I don't know that I would even want to do the 5, because with all that damage being splash damage, that's one of the reasons why you have to drive the Zealous and the Gridiron. That,
Shared equally.
you know, you got to have them way off so they don't get that splash damage. If you have 5 of them, you can get hit 5 times. I mean, I'm already doing damage enough where I might be taking some extra damage from those little green missiles, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe my time to kill still has to get even further down than it is, but I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff I'd like to test. I just don't have I don't have any more tokens or anything to do, and I can't blow anything else on this.
So subscribe to his page.
Yeah, there you go. Subscribe to my page.
So, are we done with the FM debacle?
Yeah. Although, did we make it clear that we're getting that the charged armor and the FM is 5 every FM month? Like for the 3 weeks, we have a total of 5 every time. And
yeah. Every time it resets, at least for next month. We don't know beyond that, but next month
I think it's going forward. That's how.
Well, yeah, they fire somebody and it doesn't go forward. But I'm saying next month, we will be. Those charge armors are going to reset, and you can earn 5 more of those, the 4 lower level ones that aren't associated with siege, and they're also going to be running charge path again next month between the 2 raids. So yeah. So you'll be able to earn 5 of each.
And on that
note,
I just want to say goodnight because I got to go. So y'all have fun.
Okay.
And everyone, good luck good luck on the raid. Night, everybody.
Okay.
Hey, George.
Night, George. Yeah, we were. I was able to find this image in multiple. No. Okay, stay here.
I was just seeing if it was up.
No, there's no. I'm just showing this image because we were asked not to show any images of this, but I've seen this image on the TFC page and on the KIXEYE forums.
Why can't you show images of it?
We won't get into that. Not because of me, because they don't like to talk to me. But basically, there is a mobile app that's being tested in New Zealand, as far as we know, and it allows you to do a lot of the chores associated with the game from your phone or your other mobile device. And I just, it's being tested in New Zealand because KIXEYE outsources certain parts of their game to different places, and I'm assuming that's why it's New Zealand. It has nothing to do with the hobbits. At least that's my assumption. But
what about the White Wizards?
I think they import them over from Australia. I'm not certain on how that works.
Okay.
But
you know what I think's cool about this thing? You can see a concise battle log.
Okay.
And you know why that's cool? Because the battle log half the time is wrong. It gives you the wrong coordinates, the wrong name of the person who hit you. So maybe they've improved that.
Yeah, and I remember the old battle logs. Those were, they gave you every single percentage damage to every, not like, what we see when you hit the battle report, where it just like it's all graphical. That was awful, because I remember back in the day, people would post the battle logs as actual percentage damage, and then try to learn from them. But yeah, that went away a long time. That went away about 4 years ago. But that was cool before, when you could actually see how much damage to the percentage each building took, and you could learn from that. I mean,
Yeah,
it'd be
that would be
nice if
cool.
they added new stuff in, like, you hit a target and you're like, okay, I took, not even for PvP, but PvE, like, okay, what percentage, this is Slash's idea, but like, what percentage explosive damage did I take over penetrative? That would be cool to know. There was a lot of cool things that they could put in.
That would be too
Battle
much
log.
information for for us, because then we could figure out the targets really easily. They
Yeah,
would-
but it would be, it'd be, well, or maybe you realize, oh, there's no way to prevent this damage. Yeah, I mean, you could learn that as well. You may not be able to fix it.
Plasma.
Yeah. There's certain things, I'm not sure if those both co-occurred.
Miscellaneous damage.
Yes, I guess. Your mama. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, this is going on in New Zealand. I know it's not that difficult to make it so you can download it from the U.S. or other countries, but I'm not going to screw up my phone and my Google accounts in order to do something like that. But it's not impossible. The thing that I really like about this is the fact that they're spending money / time to invest in the game to take it beyond Flash. And you see stuff in the forums and on comms and whatnot that's like, well, the game's going to be over at this point. This initiative that they've taken makes me think, well, maybe it's not going to be over at that point. If they're going to spend this time to do this at this point, makes me think they're taking the game and they're porting it over, or they're recap, whatever the word you want to use, over to a different platform, because this is not Flash.
Will the game cohabitate on your phone and the computer at the same time? Because if I can't play this game on the computer, I'm not sure I'm interested.
Well, what I'm saying is, a lot of the mobile platforms can be emulated on your computer, and a lot of the fears that people have been having, and I'm not sure if this is true. I'm just saying, I'm taking this as a possibility that because they're putting this investment into this game, that everybody's like, oh, it's going to be done in 2 years. And I'm like, well, if it's going to be done in 2 years, why are they doing this?
Yeah, well,
because everything that you saw for a long time, they're trying to squeeze every last dollar out of us before they just sunset the game or end the game.
Squeezing dollars out of us. I mean, they're not going to let it die. It's still making money.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when Flash dies, this gives me hope that when Flash dies, Battle Parts isn't going to die. Is all I'm trying to say. I'm not, that's my hope. I'm not in any of these groups. They don't like me. So, but this gives me hope that they are doing something behind the scenes to make sure the game doesn't end at that point in time, because they're putting these resources in, unless they're doing this, as just a mock-up for some other game they're coming up with. That's a possibility. I don't know. But, I like the fact that they're putting forward the resources and the initiative to do this at this point in time. So, all righty. I'm going to post the link in case anybody would like to join the after show. We've been going on for almost 2 hours. Yes, and or
Where's
FM
Larry?
charged armors. I can take you off share, Grimace. But these are all going to get reset. These FM charged armors after the raid, so you're able to earn 5 of each new. So, and I will take you off. And anybody would like to join us, they are welcome to. And I guess we'll proceed to the after show pretty quickly, unless anybody has anything to say.
No,
You had so
everything's
many
cool.
more slides, man.
What?
You had lots more slides.
No, I have like all the slides for like, yeah, I have probably 100 slides, right? I keep all the slides there in case there's like something that comes up in the show, then we can look them up and not have to change. I mean, you're going to see slides from going months and months back.
I gotcha.
Hey, Magic Mike.
Hello.
Mikey.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So, Mike,
So, what was the determination on the Switchblade? Yes or no?
Well,
Questions
I
to you,
don't know
Mike.
for sure, but I have a Hydra that's not completely done. I'm going to try 3 of them, I believe.
I thought the video showed that you didn't need more than 1.
But the data, the math, according to Holsch, who's not on to defend himself or not, suggested 3, possibly 4, if you want to shoot them all down. So on my last Hydra, which I have some tokens for, I'm going to start a refit here in a couple of hours. I'm going to put 3 on and see what happens.
Well, I'm going to do 3 complete mastery levels of the freaking Herculean campaign right now that I hate, and then I may scrap my Fangtooth.
Oh, no, you better not.
I hate them.
Because you got to have them.
Maybe Kix doesn't have to have me.
Well, I guess that's your choice.
Yeah, I absolutely hate having to drive these targets.
They are not
The way
fun
they make
targets, but it seems like using fangs for most things nowadays.
Exactly. Give me something fresh.
Yeah. I'm still liking the Skyfires.
I couldn't stand driving those anymore after as much as they made us drive them. My Katie's can auto everything. I'm good with it.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't know. I've been having some discussions on the side chat, with the Buccaneers and that new lowered cannon special, which for me the jury's out. Other people are saying that they have made that switch and using them for base parts and not having the same problem I have. So we either have a difference in the other parts of the build, or I don't know what the or is, but I can do 81s normally for no damage at all.
Yep.
And the first turret with the new lowered cannon special gives me 10 minutes damage first hit, and kiting it as far out as I can. So, I can go in there with Hydras and just walk through it, but
yeah,
I was using the Bucky to do it and having a good time, but I can't use them anymore. So I'm going to do, I hope are we in the after show, or are you done with slides?
I hope we are.
I hope so too. Okay. Well, I don't know if we're in the after show. No, we're not in the after show. But I'm going to do the first target, 89, which equates to the TLC at least intent, because that's an 89 blitz target. And if I get similar damage, then I will try them in the 80 set. And if it repeats what I had or close to what I had last raid, I'll leave it on there. But otherwise, I'm getting it off, putting the putting the high velocity rounds back on. And I've saved. a
Well,
few
once
tokens
again,
to
if
do that.
Kicksite would give us some communication as to what their intentions are,
Yeah,
put
we didn't
one
have
of these on.
we didn't have a lot of samples. I mean, Hefe was right when he said, the first one was baseline with as built, and then we switched over and put the lowered cannon on it, and it was like 7 minutes less damage than the first run, which is okay on a sample of one is probably a wash. But then I found another person that would let me do their TLC target, and I took like triple the damage. I don't know what happened, but all autoed, everything the same. And then last night or night before, I did another one for somebody, and it was about the same again as the second run. So there was some anomaly in that third sample point, but just couldn't get enough samples to get a good outcome. So the jury's out.
Okie dokie.
And what I wanted to ask George, unfortunately he's got away, was on the Dragon, did he think that the Mag 3 was necessary, or the engine that comes with it would be sufficient, which is the one I want to use?
Well, I've got the engine that it came with it.
That's the one I want to use.
But everybody else is talking about using something else.
So, and that's all I know about that.
Alrighty.
And I looked it up then last raid, Buccaneer Hydra tokens, there were only 5 given, or available, not given, to purchase. There was a question earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Go ahead. You can have your show back now.
Okay. No, I just want to get a beer and see how everything's going. Does anybody have any parting words before I can, I think we're going to have the wall building contest in private. It's too, it's too much for the public to see.
Yeah. I think one thing that I took away from another show was the timing with which to strip things off of level 9 turrets to get ready for the Howie during the raid. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, you know what though? You got if you got something building, forget it.
I know I'm going to have to finish a build in order to do it, but I mean, I've got to go out and get the base parts.
Yeah, I was going to do that myself, in fact, but can't do it because I got too long into the build, and I'm not spending that kind of coin.
Well, mine's only like a day away, so I'm okay.
Okay, mine's too far.
Yeah, the only problem, because I've done that at times, but if you're afraid you're going to get hit, you've taken away, because otherwise your pre-existing turret is still going to work.
You're what?
Son of a bitch.
It's still going to work until the new one. So that what's on top of that defense platform will still work.
Yeah,
until
but
the new one
throwaway
gets put
right
on.
now. I've got a couple throwaway level 9 turrets or platforms out front.
Okay.
So it makes no difference whether it's there or not. They get killed anyway.
Okay. Yeah, then it makes sense. But if it's part of your, if it's part of your defense, don't throw them away early, because with the Executioner, we've been told the Executioner 2 and the Howitzer 6 have the same refit time, so they can be easily done with base parts.
Bang, bang. Yeah.
So, it saves you a little bit, but it doesn't save you. I mean, it really depends on how often you're getting hit and how crucial that is to your defense. So yeah, it's a strategical move. So yeah, I can understand. I mean, I've done it. I've done it for a long time. Stripping off specials, or put the turret on and then never incur. Big ideas. Never incur any actual build time. Just go out and hit more base parts, because okay, let's say, I have, even if you have 12 hours of build time, you can go out and get that 12 hours of build time in base parts in seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, just think about it strategically when you do it, is all I'm saying. It's a good idea. I mean, I've used it at times, and sometimes if you're getting hit, it's not the best idea, depending on, unless you have extra throwaway, level 9 turrets. I'm not sure that everybody has that situation going on, because I'm pushing to get my up position for both of the new Howitzer 6s.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I've got 2 of them that I can rip stuff off of, have them set, and with base parts, I can definitely get the first one built.
Yeah. And then maybe your the chest you get through the daily FM, you might get enough. You have to spend a bit, because you only get 125 per. So yeah, but yeah, don't spend for something that you can spend base parts on. Don't spend, unless you're in the raid, don't spend that much time. Don't spend that much build time. Go out and get base parts. Base parts are, at this point, fairly easy to get. If you either have Buccaneers, Cannoneers, or whatnot. What were you saying, Mike?
I was saying not for everybody.
No, well, you have Cannoneers.
Oh yeah,
you can rip
base
through 103s and get 300,000, and for no damage if you watch a couple videos, and it's all good. I mean, it's I didn't start, like I said earlier in the show, Buccaneers are the safe way to do it, but if you're willing to drive and figure out some things, Cannoneers are much more efficient than Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 103s, you can get 300,000 base parts.
Yep.
And, and if you get unlucky, maybe take 15, 20 minutes of damage.
Yep.
So, hitting lower level targets, I mean, Buccaneers have been around for so long, and Cannoneers are the way to go, as long as you can drive it and understand how to do it.
Yep.
It's
throw a Fearless Blitzer on there, and you can
tear crap up.
Can do it for next to nothing if you know the path.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else have any parting words?
Nope.
All righty. Well, I guess I will go to the after show.
Good luck,
where we're gonna go talk over on the movie Piranha. Grimace has got he actually has the DVD from 1978?
Do they have DVDs in 1978?
Well, Grimace has DVDs from 1978, and I am sort of disappointed, because I really think Grimace his game name should be Mojo, but not everybody understands why that should be Mojo.
You cut out
Mojo. Can you not hear me?
Mojo.
Think about your actual real name. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I got you. I was just like, okay.
Okay. All righty. Well, let's proceed to the after show, and we'll see you all on Friday. See how the raid's going. I think at that point we'll start to realize what stacks with the Howitzer 6 and the new special that goes with it. And so and if there's any tips and tricks, as the kids like to say, associated with the raid, and we'll go from there. So good night, everybody, until Friday.
Later.